once in a way variant.
The flying device here is a merger pattern. It's based around a fly by Hans van Klinken called the once and away merger, which is an excellent pattern. It's slightly different in that I don't have any tail on this, as I recall. On the original once and away, it had 2 strands of microfibrils either side as a tail. I don't have any on this. It seems to work okay in lakes without it. It works well on rivers as well, but mostly I fish this pattern as a general emerger type pattern on lakes. The Van Klinken one uses peccary fibers, which give you a sort of a striped effect, kind of white then black then white then black type effect. I'm using moose mane, which starts off as a sort of an almost black color, getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and then into almost a white. Moose mane can be a bit tricky for some people to work with, but I find it's not too bad. You need to coat it with some lacquer for just to strengthen it, make it a bit more durable. I've replaced the peacock curl that you'd find in the once in a way pattern with some peacock glister. The other thing I'm going to do as part of this video is I'm going to show you 2 different ways of using the CDC or tying in the CDC to get the same effect. One I suppose closer to the original traditional way, and then the way I usually tie it in if I want to form an emerger style CDC pattern such as this. So stay tuned and I'll run through both techniques if you like. I'm going to put an emerger hook in the vise here. It's partridge K14 ST size 12. Some Semperfli tying thread here. It's the Semperfli nano thread in 12/0 in it's a grey colour. It's a pretty light grey. It's almost white. I'm bringing the thread right the ways down, almost around the bend, and then I'm going to take a strand of moose, and I've trimmed a tiny bit off the end because basically I'm looking for the blackish colour going into the dark, going into the white. So I'm going to catch that in where you're catching it in. Keep it down underneath. Get another couple of turns over it. You're looking at leaving about 1/4 of the overall body length if you took all the ways around the curve for the thorax area on this, I would say. I'm going to bring that to the eye, but just to keep the thread out of the way, I'll work it backwards after. So I'm going to catch my strand of moose mane, and I'm going to start bringing it up the vise as close as I can manage it to touch and turns. The stem gets a little bit thicker as you work your way up the stem, and it starts to get white, so I'm getting sort of colour contrast as I go, if you like. So when I get to that area, it's about 1/4 of the hook shank left. I just get one more turn and catch that in, and just going to give it a couple of turns along here underneath, and then normally you'd expect it to break off, but that piece doesn't want to, so I have to snip it off. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some clear lacquer or varnish and I'm going to coat that with some clear varnish. Otherwise it's not going to last too long with fish's teeth. Get a bit sticky. So there's different ways you can do the next part. What I'd probably do something hanging off there. So what I'd probably do is I'll go back to this stage and I'll show you both ways. So I suppose sort of a traditional way of doing it and the way I would do it. So I'll show you the traditional way first. So for a hook this size, you probably need 2, if not 3 CDC feathers. I'm going to use 3 in the colour natural brown, and I'll just lay them on top of each other, and then with the concave side up, so that they're curling up if you like, I'm going to place them in the vise, and the amount that's sticking forward of the tie-in, or sticking back I suppose as you look at it, from the tie-in point, that's going to be what's protruding over the hook eye. So it's going to look a little bit like a shuttlecock type style of fly when it's tied, except we're going to have CDC over our thorax as well. So I reckon I want about that much protruding forward, plus then the width of the thorax to cover the thorax. Measure, let's have a look, see I'm happy with them. You want you know, you don't want too short a piece sticking out the front. If it's a bit long, that's fine, because you could always snip it off with your fingertips, or if you had to, even if you had to cut it, I suppose, it'd be okay. So I suppose for someone starting off tying something like this, getting the proportions or the measurements right might be something that they're not too happy with. So you can use peacock curl or various things. I'm going to just locate some peacock glister, so just a nice pinch of it here. Okay. And dub it on. Okay. Now if you want to, you can give that a shot of a Velcro brush and tease it out a bit more if you want at this point. And I'm just going to bring this forward over the thorax, catch it in a couple of turns, and then I'm going to stand it up a fair bit here, like so. Any bits are sticking out, I want to leave a few of those bits that are trailing at the back, but I don't want them too long. So if there's something that's really too long, or it doesn't look right, I'll just try and break it off or trim it off. So that's not too bad. So get your whip finish tool. And trim it off. Right. So what I'll do then is I'll just turn it upside down for a second. Get my clear lacquer. I'll just add a tiny drop in that finish area. That's one way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to tie in another strand of moose mane to around the same tying point, and then I'll show you the other way of creating a similar effect, which is the way I would tend to tie mostly and I prefer. Okay, so we're back to around the same position as we were with the previous tie. We ran our thread down, tied in our moose mane, and we've wrapped our moose mane up to the thorax position. So now I need to grab 3 more largish CDC feathers, and as you recall, the last time we tied the feathers in this way. This time I'm going to tie them in a little bit differently. This is the style I would normally use when I'm tying these types of emergers. So I'll bring my thread to just behind the eye. I'll measure the length of CDC that I want out the front, so I can be quite accurate as to how much I want. So I'm going to go with that much. Okay, not sure what's sticking out there. Get rid of it. And I'm going to keep my feathers on top, and I'm going to run my thread back to the start of the thorax area. I'll get another pinch of my glister dubbing. I'm going to just dub that on, and then Run that forward, another tiny bit. Now, as I say, it may be possible that this will sit slightly differently in the water to the other style or something, but it hasn't seemed to bother the fish. Anyway, that's for sure. So I'll pull that over the top now. So you'll notice with this style, there's a lot less fibers sticking back along to worry about, and a couple of tight turns because there is a little bit of stem there, a few turns in front. I've extra CDC now coming over the front, so I'm going to trim that. It's probably about half the length of this, like so. So that's adding another little bit of CDC to the front of my fly. I'm not too worried about 1 or 2 strands there, look, but about half. So it's an extra little bit of floatability that I didn't have when I tied it with the other style, but there is a little bit of stem in there. And then again, just pull these back, build up a bit of thread, get your whip finish tool, and you just finish your fly with your whip finish again, just pulling this back out of the way. Another bit of thread there. Just do another 2 or 3 turns on that. So there's, I suppose, maybe 2 different ways of tying in the CDC that will give you a similar effect, and maybe some pros and cons of each one, and then you can decide yourself which way you want to tie it, or try both and see how you get on.